hero that they can just accelerate. There's maybe some options.
You can see VGJ already dipping into reserve time here in their first overall pick. The first big question of the draft has been answered is EG do opt to ban Death Prophet in the first 3, and VGJ really taking their time here thinking about what that overall first pick is going to be. You see how badly they got punished for their first phase Medusa in game 1 of the last series.
I think there's similar bans that Na'Vi threw at EG after game 1, the Beastmaster, the Nature's Prophet, the Chen. There's very annoying heroes that just mess up the lanes and cause you huge problems, particularly in that off lane where they can really cause problems. I'd like to see VGJ.Thunder prioritize one thing. I mean, you mentioned, Kevin, like different ways they can approach it, like, you know, winning mid really hard or winning the lanes. I think winning one lane in particular, and that's the lane that Sumail goes to. We've yet to see Sumail get pressured and look like an off laner. Send 3 heroes to his lane. Get your 1v, get the 1v1 matchup against Fear where, you know, you're going to probably break even on farm, and then just, you know, trialing Sumail. Like, give him a rough time. Like, we haven't seen Sumail lose out on farm in a single game yet.
Yeah, I think one of the panel in one of our previous panels, the point was made that it feels like teams will fall into the trap of focusing on Fear in lane. I agree with that. Wow, so this is actually a big change for VGJ. We've talked about the fact that they're not necessarily a Naga team, and they're going to go to it first. They've only played it twice in 2018, and Fade is 0-2 on the hero.
In this whole tournament, they've just banned it 5 times.
Yep.
So it kind of shows that they're not really willing to fully commit before now, but maybe it's going to beat what EG's trying to do here. It does give them good lockdown. It's a pretty good laning hero. She's good at trading hits, so she kind of covers a lot of bases.
All right, an interesting decision there. EG will leave the Naga Disruptor combo on the table for VGJ.Thunder if they want it. The trade-off, of course, being picking up the Rubik for crit.
Yeah, Rubik, it's crit or Misery is the great thing with this pick is that they both played it. We saw Misery early in today, so it's one of EG's most picked heroes, and it's because there is that flexibility. It also just is such a good staple for them that can play in multiple lanes, can go to the off lane, can help mid, can just be a safe lane support if you need. It's really very versatile as far as where it can go.
And Fierce Viper again, so they can again focus on giving Sumail a beneficial matchup once they have more information from VGJ.Thunder.
Yeah, exactly the same open they used in the last game against Na'Vi.
I wonder if they just second pick SF or something. No, they're gonna go Brew.
Okay, the Yang Brewmaster.
What do you make of this opening, Kevin?
Well, the Brewmaster is going to lane relatively good against Rubik, and that Rubik is very right-click focused, so with evasion and slow and good team fight, I think Brewmaster could be pretty useful here. Lane-wise, I think it gives them a safe opening that is kind of hard to counter straight off the bat, but Brew in a lot of ways doesn't necessarily beat Viper either. Like, you can Cyclone him, I guess, because you're not going to kill him anyways. There's maybe some benefits there, but as a whole, seems like a fine opening for VGJ.
I agree with Kevin. It definitely has that good team fight aspect where, you know, you're not going to have too greedy of an offlaner as well. That was something that kind of caused some problems in that game when against Infamous when they had the Underlord. It was like, oh, you got this Medusa farming. You need an offlaner that can create some space. Oh, you've got an Underlord there. That hero also wants to farm. And then they had this big weakness and kind of gap in their draft, which Brewmaster is not going to give them. This will fit into all kinds of playstyles and be a space creator if you need to. It can also scale with the Radiance type builds that we've also seen from Brews.
Another Titan the ban here from VGJ.Thunder. So focusing on supports that could maybe make a lane tricky to deal with.
I think that one makes sense because they already have a Rubik for magic resistance reduction. They could go for some crazy synergy build if they're allowed to have that hero. And it also accomplishes lane pressure stuff that Naga Siren should be able to offset when up against Rubik.
5 seconds remaining.
Well, let's see what EG is worried about. I mean, so far we've not seen Naga that often indeed on the side of VGJ.Thunder. What role would they play it as?
Should be a 4.
Yeah,
I don't think anything else works for them. Siler played some carry Naga if you go way back, but is this hero
Too far in the past.
Yeah, too far back, too many patches ago. Some teams can still run as a 3. I think we've seen 3 Naga work so-so, but with the Brewmaster, that will not be the case.
If you have a lot of follow-up to the song, I've seen a couple of teams experiment with it in the 5 position because it doesn't necessarily need that meteor hammer then.
I really like to pick like a Lycan style draft. Oh, was that first ban?
Lycan was
oh, never mind. Okay, so I think that's going way back.
Probably it's one of Siler's best hero both now and throughout his career.
Okay, so we're probably not going to see any Lycan. This is best of 3 then if they're first banning it.
I feel like one of the interesting things about the lack of Naga ban is that the VG just hasn't ever banned it this tournament yet. They must feel really confident playing against it. I feel feel like every other team has worked in at least some Naga bans.
Well, I think it's. I think they're playing these lineups that they're generally radiant, and they're playing these lineups that are getting onto the dire side of the map really fast. So they don't have to worry about fighting uphill into a Naga contesting those camps because they're already taking towers. They're already on that side of the map.
That's a good point, and she's not really the best at necessarily catching up. It's more like
There you go.
It's more like keeping your team alive in team fights, and it takes levels to do that, and sometimes a little bit of farm to be able to do that safely.
Wow.
They had Evil Genius had Dark Willow banned against them, I think, in a series against Navi.
They picked it in the first game.
Yeah,
Or
then
one of the
banned
games.
in
Yeah,
the second
second
the other
game,
one.
yeah.
In fact, this was the same first 3 picks that they used in that closing game against Navi.
Same support duo, so we'll see the Misery Rubik with Crit Dark Willow, and very much, at this point, I think for VGJ, you can learn a lot because you've seen them play this draft where you can expect the Willow plus Sumail offlaner to be paired together, and that I think that your goal really going in is let's secure our safe lane, don't let this Willow plus Sumail hero win the lane, let's make sure we win that lane, and then just give a even mid matchup against the Viper.
How does Dark Willow affect your core selection here? What do you think the good cores are against her, both in lane and as the game goes on?
Magic immune cores, the Jugs, the Life Stealers, or you get a BKB core. That's typically what you want because it's this huge burst magic damage and lots of annoying disables.
I asked that because, of course, you probably, the 2 biggest BKB cores, right? EG just banned out in the Luna and the Gyrocopter. So the Life Stealer seems like a natural pick. And, of course, we should have mentioned VGJ pick up that Naga Disruptor combo that gets left on the table because of the 2 core bans.
So hypothetically, if VG does get into a mid game against Naga Disruptor, it's pretty scary, but
that's a block pick. I thought EG might go with that. It takes away the biggest magic immunity option from VGJ.Thunder, and it puts a lot of pressure tempo-wise.
it's very good against Disruptor as well, other than like Song with Static Storm combos. But against Naga Siren, it's not always the best hero, but I think they can play through that.
And the carry that is typically picked against Lifesteal is going to match up poorly against the Dark Willow +1 lane, which is Terrorblade. They're going to pick it still.
They're going to pick it anyway, yeah.
And it's something EG are okay with, because they know they're going to have a lane that can pressure Terrorblade. So they pick Lifesteal knowing, you know, there's a TB in the pool, TB, pretty hard counter to Lifestealer, but we can play around that by winning the lanes. We can play around that by giving him a really rough time early on.
And I worry a lot that they're falling into the same trap that Na'Vi fell into in Game 1 this morning, picking against EG's heroes rather than picking against EG's tempo in their playstyle.
Why is Dark Willow so good against Terrorblade?
It's more about the laning pressure. It's a very good hero at early levels. From what we've seen, the way Crit plays it, he goes to the off lane, just the Bramble, the stun early on. You've got a stun setup, which sets up your follow-up root, which can set up spells and further damage output. Very hard to farm against this. And in the lane stage, like, Terrorblade's a kind of a cooldown hero in the lane stage, because you're strong in the lane when you have meta. When you don't, you're incredibly weak, you can't farm. So that's something that EG can really punish.
And in like mid to late game, you can always combo Terrorize off of somebody else's stun, and then you're looking at a 3 to 5 seconds silence, which is pretty much the best thing you can do against a Terrorblade if you combo with Bramble.
Here's where I think, like, Bull was really influencing the draft. Like, they banned the Razor, and this is very much like, he's probably thinking, like, how do they lane this and beat our lanes? They're going to try lane to try and not to secure the Terrorblade's lane, which means they have to have a dedicated 1v1 mid. They're not going to be able to support a hero mid against Viper, so what 1v1 mid is bad for Viper? Razor's probably the worst, so they just ban Razor. It's like, they're almost anticipating what VGJ is going to be doing with their supports with that last ban.
Yeah, that's the biggest change I've seen recently with Bulba joining in. And EG's renewed focused on both laning configurations, not just in the draft, but in the early game. They've been willing to completely sack fear and just even have Artur die a couple times in the early game just to prevent the enemy safe lane carry from farming. And I feel like that really works out for them, especially when they're picking heroes that are just natively coming online faster.
Wow, we're seeing a mid Brewmaster, I guess. That's an unexpected pick. Wow.
How does he do against Viper?
Does fine.
Yeah?
He farms. Viper should farm okay too.
Are you sure it won't be Omni Knight?
Oh, Omni mid? Yeah, surely not.
No, I mean, if this were like VP, it would be TB mid and safe lane on me. But I don't think VGJ is going to show that look.
Yeah, the TB, you definitely have to give him like a dual lane against the Viper, but it could theoretically work out in some way like that. If anything, that's maybe a lane where TB is going to have the best time farming, but I think the Brew is a lot better mid against Viper than Omni is.
Do we like the draft of
Probably
VGJ.Thunder?
I didn't like it up until the first 4 picks because I felt like their ability to gank is going to be really weak. It's just like Ensnare and maybe a Static Storm if Disruptor's 6. So that part, like their ability to gank is pretty atrocious as a whole.
I'm not a fan. I think they're very reliant on both their supports getting level 6, like Kevin says. It's like until they get the sleep, the static storm, they're going to be struggling in the laning stage.
And I think that the flip side of that too is that if you struggle in the laning stage with a very team fight heavy, cooldown oriented lineup, it's easy to just get rolled over, just start hemorrhaging towers around 12 minutes.
What will be Sumail's hero? And EG saving his pick for last, really highlighting the fact that he is not the 3 position, the quote-unquote typical offlaner. Pugna.
Yeah, the Pugna. Again, just tempo, tempo, tempo.
Yeah, this is a game to do tempo, because if they can do all this pushing before they have Disruptor ulti, or Beastmaster, Brewmaster, Blink Dagger, it's going to be very easy for them to take towers, and if they can snowball that into Radiance, then it should be Lifestealer having really good teamfight impact into the mid-game.
You all make it sound very scary for VGJ.Thunder.
EG has said with this draft, we think we're the better team, and we're going to try and run you off the map, period.
But in terms of like just the individual players like Sumail or TZ, these are great mechanical players. Like you've got Lifestealer against like an Omni in a 1v1. Theoretically, you can have Rubik helping top lane. You can aggro Tryon. There's so much flexibility with what EG can do because their laning matchups are really good.
Yeah.
Viper versus Brew, that's kind of an even lane. Then Lifestealer versus Omni, fine for Lifestealer. So good luck playing Terrorblade this game.
Laning stage. Let's see if VGJ.Thunder can get through that unscratched. It is over to Capitalist and Blitz for game 1.
Seconds remaining.
At the start of this tournament, there were 2 teams that would have stood out to you. Evil Geniuses and VGJ.Thunder. And here, at the end of the tournament, in the grand finals, these 2 up-and-coming teams are here to establish themselves as Tier 1 and be the first of them to be able to take their win in a Dota Pro circuit, failing so many times in the finals before. Evil Geniuses, of course, having gone the run so many times, they've had a storied history at so many TIs, at so many different majors as well, but they haven't managed to take TI, and here at this season, they haven't managed to win a tournament either, at least when it comes to securing those DPC points. VGJ.Thunder, in the meanwhile, they've placed second multiple times. In fact, the whole VG Gaming organization has done so as well. So you couldn't ask for a better finals, and that's why Indonesia, Jakarta, I've listened to so many people ask me, what are the fans like here? Are we gonna get another minors in Indonesia? Are we gonna get a major? Indonesia, make some noise for your grand finals here. You gotta love it, Blitz.
The immediate pause.
I know. What an anticlimactic way to hype up this series.
It happens. What can you do?
And this is the game that we love. Well, Evil Geniuses, VGJ.Thunder, you heard the panel. Seems like before we actually saw the draft at all, Evil Geniuses, the analysts at least, were leaning a bit towards EG. Did you feel the same way going into the series?
I think it's a fairly even draft with, it's very clear cut. One team wants to play the early game. EG will not contend in the late game with this lineup against this Terrorblade. And so they have to take advantage of things early. I was a big fan of the Pugna pick, trying to tie everything together because I realized oftentimes it's EG that push things towards a later game because of the type of cores they have. But in this game, they understand we have to end it early. Vici is a little bit greedy. Let's take advantage of that.
We're going to start off with what could be some early action here. Evil Genius is going for an aggressive smoke out. Want to get that vision on the high ground, but VGJ, they are already sitting inside that Radiant jungle and might just snag themselves a first blood. If EG stumble up, VGJ are going to give up on it. We're going to have no early first blood in this opening game, the best of 3.
You see what they're trying to do. They're trying to make sure that all the lanes are as they predicted. That you want to make sure that Freeze is going to go there, so there's no shenanigans. Make it as easy for yourselves as possible. Like that was a scouting smoke more than it was trying to get a kill.
So you're feeling good about Evil Genius's current laning phase matchup, having a Viper in their safe lane, Lifestealer matched up in the mid lane?
I think they were hoping that it was going to be a Brew mid. But it's going to be the Omni.
And immediately they start switching up. Lifestealer starts heading to that bottom lane.
Yeah, they want to make sure that the
already
Brew
in position
is against the Lifestealer. But because of this switch, they're going to be able to get the pull off.
And now Misery's actually got to get in front of that creep wave. Try not to let it go into the tower. Has to pick up Fade Bolt just to be able to grab the creep wave here and pull it towards Arteezy. already missing out a little bit of CS. Meanwhile, in the top lane, we have Sumail and Crit. Combining forces here for another aggro dual lane. Probably the most aggressive lane that you're going to be seeing for Sumail. This is going to be some active battling that we're going to have from Evil Geniuses.
Yeah. The book on Disruptor is try to aggro him as much as you can. He's a very single target focused hero that needs a lot of levels. If you can aggro, deny him a lot of that experience early on so you don't just allow him to pull and let the Naga roam free, you're going to have a much better time.
Sumail just ignoring the Terror Blade as it starts going to the side shot. Fade wants to be able to cut through these trees and go for this kill. With the Riptide already on him, the physical damage is going to do a lot. They've got vision him as well, and Sumail is not going to escape his doom. That's going to be your first blood.
Easy pickup. But he is just going to run back up here. Now the Naga has no regen. Going to go for the TP.
He will successfully get out. Our panel, they stated, look, you got to shut down Sumail some more. You got to ignore fear. He's a trap. Don't try and focus on him in the laning phase, and it seems like already this defensive tri-lane for VGJ.Thunder is off to a good start.
Yeah, Arteezy going to pop the Rage. The thing about the new offlane, though, is you don't really care if you die in those positions. It's about trading out regen as effectively as possible. I think Sumail held onto his salve. The Naga's out of regen. It's going to force her back, and that's what creates space for you as an offlaner.
They're also hoping to be able to shut down Sylar's farm as the Terror Blade. He's currently 8-0 right now, so not slowing down one bit.
Yeah, this is not the effect that they thought they'd have in this dual offlane. The Terror Blade doesn't look too bothered by it.
They're going to surround Sumail here, manage to slow him down with a reflection, manage to get the kinetic field out as well. Decrepify by Sumail, a little bit of time here, but he's still going to be run down. Brambles go out and does stop VGJ.Thunder. In fact, DDC in big time trouble, he's trapped in the trees! The creeps! Evil Geniuses, the sixth man on the field, is their own creeps, and they manage to even up the score because of it.
Yeah, and a double damage rune is Misery. Goes at bottom, starts with the lift, pulls him back, but Freeze immediately going to go for the TP. Perfectly safe without that stun there. One more hit.
Healing salve, and
he still takes
the
that.
poison is just barely enough.
And Fear with the first blood. Oftentimes we see this guy kind of just get sacked. Not expecting a lot, but does manage to pick up the solo first blood.
Now that the Metamorphosis is down, Crit and Sumail get back on the offensive here in this top lane.
Still, they've secured a lot of farm for themselves. All three lanes doing perfectly fine for VGJ.
And Fade actually reading this. Look at this. Fear is actually low enough. If they get on top of him and get a Purification as well as a Riptide, they might.
Yeah, they want to dive here.
He's got a double creep wave. It's pushing into him. That is a perfect time to be able to go for this dive. Fade gets the Riptide on him. Now the ensnare. Yang is going to lay that Purification down. Fear has a little bit of HP, but they still find him inside the trees. They'll bring him low. That is a creep wave he entirely misses out on. What a great rotation from VGJ.Thunder.
That was so smart by VGJ. They also glyphed their own creeps, so they always had that barrier.
Yeah.
Made it very difficult for Fear to get out of that situation.
Uh-oh, Misery. Now he's going to be caught by Fade as well. 4-minute rune. Misery's going to have to toss him back here to secure himself the bounty. But Fade, he's going to find himself a well-timed haste rune. What does he plan to do with this?
I don't think he goes bottom.
Picks it up now. He's going to run into Fear, or excuse me, Misery. And he does have a TP out. Fade could just hold on to the ensnare now. Misery's going to have to go for some sort of deny on the neutral creeps. I don't think he's going to be able to juke this one out long enough. Fateful buys him a little bit more time and tosses the low ground. That is a great play. That buys him the space he needs to be able to TP out.
If he actually doesn't hug that edge, he probably gets that kill.
Yeah, certainly.
And in this top lane, Sumail getting really
Look
aggressive.
at him. He's just running a DDC. He has a bunch of magic wand charges, so he could pop those if he feels like he can go for a kill.
Mainly because they know that the Naga's in that bottom area. Not the lane that Fade necessarily wants to play in. The Lifestealer being a nearly impossible kill.
You think maybe he goes back into the top lane now that Metamorphosis, speaking of which, Sylar is going to be gone on here. The Brambles is going to be able to snag him here. Follow-up stun, match one, buys some time. And now potentially the turnaround. They pop the Metamorphosis. Misery's here. And they manage to get the pop on him. DDC, he's the next target. All of Evil Geniuses look to be able to run him down into the trees underneath the tower. And Nether Blast will finish him off. A double kill for Sumail. 4-2 now for Evil Geniuses.
They did not expect that rotation from Misery.
Yang in a bit of trouble here, pops a repel. Will just run out. He does have a 5-minute shrine to work off of.
Early kills going the way of VG. Farm is still fine for VGJ though. Nothing to panic about quite yet. But they want to secure this Terrablade's farm. They don't want to get run over in the early game, even though they do have that late game advantage. Playing against a Pugna, he's going to take all your outer towers. You have to make sure that you get out of this laning phase without too much damage.
Picking up both the bounty runes, and oh, what a nice guy, Yang. Both gives him some bottle charges as well as a heal, so Freeze doesn't have to go back to base. And he can continue to try and contest RTZ's CS. RTZ is still top of the boards right now, 31 and 15, despite some of the missed percentage chance coming out from that Brewmaster.
Freeze. Just trading hits right now.
Wants to make sure that RTZ isn't allowed to constantly bully him out.
He's getting aggressive though.
Naga Siren's coming over with DDC. I'm not sure how they can actually kill RTZ though. He doesn't have Infest, but he does have a Rage up. They're gonna try and go for the kill, see if they can force out the Rage and get an ensnare on him, but RTZ smartly holds on to it.
That is optimistic.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how you set up on that kill. It just feels like they don't know where to play. They can't really protect this top area.
Yeah, with their top tower going down, they felt like they had to do something.
Yeah, look how fast Sumel's playing. He knows the regen's up here. He's going to pick it up. They're going to assault the mid tower next. Deny as much room as possible on this Terrorblade. Force him to jungle early on. And as long as you just leave RTZ down there at bottom.
Oh, he's actually circling around. He's going to be able to find Sylar here. Sylar is level 5, so he doesn't have a Thunder. But
he doesn't have a TP either.
He's super fast. Crepify is going to slow him down a bit. But
he wants Fear to connect.
Yeah, he is. He's going to be coming over, but so is Yang. Yang does have the purification just in case. And the blast is going to miss. They're going to go for the strike onto Omni Knight, trying to get that kill instead.
But Misery's here.
Still want to be able to focus on Sylar. Body block by Misery. Holds him in to Crepify and blast again. Samael claims another kill. This time it's Sylar who falls low. And VGJ.Thunder, they wanted so badly to secure his farm, and it was going okay for the first 5 minutes, but now, as Evil Geniuses start taking towers and mounting up the pressure, it's beginning to look a little worse.
Yeah, Yang forced into a position where he doesn't really have a game. There's nothing to counter TP2. They've lost that top tower, which was very important for them. Their TB can't really farm in that jungle area by himself anymore. The 3-man roam squad, it's a little bit too strong from EG. I'd imagine that either you take the top tier 2 or you just immediately transition into the mid tower and further put pressure. And it's going to be this top push as Samael opens up.
Samael, oh, misses out on the blast. That's actually going to be dodged out by Faye. Doesn't dodge the Brambles though, so he's going to be double stunned up, brought down to half HP, turns around for the ensnare, but a Bramble snags up Freeze. He is going to close the distance with Samael, slowing him down. DDC does have a glimpse if necessary as well. In fact, they're going to pop the Brewmaster ultimate just to make sure that Samael does indeed die and he doesn't get the chance for some sort of rebuttal kill. And that is a kill streak as well, so well worth the ultimate.
Yeah, that was commitment though that leaves RTZ hitting that bottom tower, forces Yang over, who continues to just be the frontliner, but this is just a lot of misdirection as EG going to go for this mid tower now. Pugna TPing in. They're getting aggressive everywhere right now.
DDC wisely going to use his Thunder Strike to at least pull the creeps off the tower. See if he can ease this pressure a bit, but Evil Geniuses are not to be stopped here.
Yeah, VG need to rotate more heroes right now. This is not a tower you want to give up this early on.
Freeze by himself, he can't do it. In fact, he's going to be caught by the telekinesis. Yeah, the rest of Evil Geniuses were not in a position, though, to follow up that disable. So it is going to be a mid-tier 1 tower down by 10 minutes.
I think Yang now just stays bottom. It looked like he wanted to try to go for mid for a second, but you can't give up this bottom tier 1 tower just to the solo lifestealer.
All right, Blitz, this is looking kind of grim for VGJ.Thunder, but surely this is kind of what EG has to do with their lineup, right? They've got a Pugna, Viper, Lifestealer. If that doesn't say win the laning phase and push towers, I'm not sure what kind of lineup does.
Yeah, this is relatively expected. I think that VGJ is getting outplayed a little bit. Like, they're being run around the map a little more than they like. In an ideal situation, you just have Yang sitting there behind one of his cores, not letting the towers be taken as Misery. Smoked up, looking for something.
A really nice ward there on the high ground. And spots a lot of the VGJ members, all 3 cores in fact.
They should connect to Samael right now and try to pressure this top tier 2. It's going to draw space away from that bottom lane and allow the Lifestealer to continue to just free farm.
And in turn, what is VGJ trying to do here?
And they're trying to just salvage things. Go for these easy picks.
Well, Yang can't die, and that's why he's going to go for the repel. TP out, he'll be fine. Draws a lot of attention. That's helpful. Sylar, okay. They're trying to go for some sort of smoke Sunder play, maybe.
A little bit risky here. They're pinging towards mid right
They
now.
want the Viper. Viper would be a huge kill, and the Sunder would be a decent one if they get the ensnare, follow up Sunder with the Metamorphosis. They can very easily bring him down. They just need to make sure they can close that distance a little bit more. Brought back by the glimpse. That's what DDC is for with the Disruptor. But no, the Viper's actually turning. Sylar's in trouble. They need to finish up here, but they can't do it. Now he's going for the Disruptor as well. Finally, the Riptide will claim his life, but Misery looks to be able to grab the opposing support. DDC juking his way through the trees. Misery's been got. He fails to find the kill and has to circle back.
Well worth it though. It was supposed to just be an easy one-off, but Misery with the immediate TP, at least getting the trade out of it. And just look at the difference in the farm between the Terrorblade and the Lifestealer. EG making so much space at that bottom lane. They keep dragging heroes around. And it's difficult because VGJ, it's not easy for them to get the kill on the Lifestealer, so they just can't even attempt it.
Yeah.
Dire's bottom tower is
He's
under
just
attack.
out of range right now, Misery.
Any pickoff would be well worth it for VGJ.Thunder right now. They're sitting about 2,000 gold lead behind. Nothing too dramatic, but it is going to start build up. Nice deny there from Freeze. Every little bit helps right now. And Freeze is doing his part as the Brewmaster.
Gets a Drunken Haze on him.
And we've got some key timings coming up, right? Disruptor, level 6. We've also got a Blink Dagger coming in for the Brewmaster. These are really big team fight opportunities for VGJ.
Yeah. They just haven't really created space for any other cores.
Yang's going to be caught. They're going to get the combo stuns here. He's not going to be allowed to be able to get out there and repel for a good long while. Purification goes down, but Omni Knight is so tanky. He actually turns and fights this one. He's going to try and go for the kill on Misery, and he's got him too. There's no way Misery can escape. In fact, they're just going to leave him to die, apparently thinking the Thunder Strike is going to be enough. You know, spoilers, it's not quite enough. 6 HP, but still, they bring him back to his doom.
Yeah. Nice turnaround. They needed something like that. The best way that the Omni can play is just play passive-aggressive, allow people to go on you or one of your cores, then TP in, set the fight. It's really hard for them to get anything started, as we saw.
Yeah, they thought with like the combination of the stuns that they had from the Dark Willow, they might be able to kill the Omni Knight, but it wasn't even close. He's got 1,300 HP right now.
And if you add up the effective HP with the heal and the wand, it's probably
Yeah.
closer to like 1,700. On top of that, he's got the repel.
A 4-man smoke up. They got the blink. A perfect time for VGJ.Thunder to pounce.
Oh, they're
and
running
turn
top.
this laning phase around. And if they could get these kills, it could be a tower as well.
And they're pinging right now.
They're going to go for the Terrorblade, though. Terrorblade can't die too early. Tries to get the Sunder. He's going to be pounced around. Sumail is going to be caught here by the rotation from VGJ.Thunder. But if they're only trading 1-for-1, Thunder is going to be real disappointed about it.
Yeah, once again, they lose Sylar in that trap. They thought it was going to be an easy bait. They thought it was just Sumail there. They don't anticipate the damage from this Willow, who is starting to get quite farmed.
Dire's middle tower is under
Just
attack.
below the TB in net worth. And if your objective is to get this TB online, you need to do a better job of protecting him, as they are going to run into crit. They know he's around.
Spot him with a glimpse. He's going to try and just give himself a TP
Pop
away.
to
The
sleep.
song? Okay. VGJ.Thunder are desperate for any pickoff. He does manage to get off the Terrorize, but a Brewmaster is here to be able to slow him down. A Bramble catches up Freeze as well as the stun, but DDC should be able to catch him. Kinetic Field locks him in, and Grit will end up dying. But again, it's just support after support picked off. VGJ.Thunder, they need something bigger, and that's why they're going to head down to this bottom lane with the Brewmaster hidden in the trees with his teleport. Reveals himself now, but doesn't see an opportunity for the blink forward.
The common theme that I notice in a lot of EG games is that oftentimes when they play against a team, the kill score is really close because they're willing to trade out kills for farm for the rest of their cores. And so it fools you into thinking, well, this game is a lot closer than it is, but they do have that 2k gold advantage. The Terrorblade is quite underfarmed. If you're VGJ, the 7-7 does not mean that you're equal in any way in this game so far. But you still have a Terrorblade in a good position. This Omni Knight is very nice against EG's heroes. The repel is going to be very effective for the Terrorblade in making him a hero once again. It's something that Liquid runs often with Mind Control playing the Omni. Miracle on the Terrorblade. We've seen how effective that combo can be. So it's hard to count VGJ out.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really care if you get a Radiance on Lifestealer. I still feel like Terrorblade, that should be a clear outmatch against the Lifestealer and the Viper, right? Such single target focused heroes against a Terrorblade who has that big Thunder. And Omni Knight behind him too. As you said, a dangerous combination here. Crit's gonna be slowed down, caught by the Static Storm, unable to get off the Shadow Realm in time. It's Decrepify. Buy him a little bit of time, but he's still gonna go down. This time around, VGJ.Thunder, they need a core kill out of this. Not just a support. It looks like they may have just found Fear. Making sure to stay on top of him. Fade's gonna try and dodge damage, gets off the ensnare now. He is gonna end up going down, but Yang managed to get off the heal just barely in time. They need a damage dealer though. Fear, he can fight all these heroes. In fact, Samael's gonna join him. He's gonna go for the kill on DDC as well. Already blew up one support, gets the other as well off the life drain. Here comes Siler trying to go for Fear. Sunder off just in time, but Fear, he's still alive. It's Decrepify. Samael keeps him alive, and VGJ.Thunder will all fall.
What a turnaround as Freeze. He's going to recommit.
He comes in, he pops the Brewmaster ultimate, wants to be able to go for the Viper kill. Anything out of this, but they're just focusing on the Brewlings. He's all out of them. It's just the Earth Panda.
This was not the commitment that you wanted to make. He needs to get out of here.
He needs to be able to live long enough to be away, but he's not going to be able to do so. A full 5-man wipe, VGJ.Thunder. They thought they could kill the Viper. They were just so wrong.
The Decrep and Misery stealing the heal made Fear live for such a long period of time, and Freeze just goes in 1v4, thinks that he can get an easy kill. Maybe he dies for it, but not worth it all, as they're gonna lose this top tier 2 tower. And the game, a second ago, it was 2,000 gold. VGJ panic, feel like they have to make a move, but you have the late game. Instead, they commit to something they can't follow through with.
Trying to catch that Viper without one of their primary damage dealers. Siler gets caught here, has no Sunder this time around. Here comes the big damage dealer in the Willow. Samael dropped a little low, but he'll be okay.
And this is the roughest game that I've seen Siler play this entire tournament.
They are just absolutely destroying this Terrorblade right now. He may be able to match up late game against some of EG's heroes, but they are just not letting him get anywhere close to the amount of farm he's going to need. Taking the pace of game against VGJ.Thunder. 18 minutes in, almost all the outer towers gone.
This is what VGJ were hoping to avoid. Take some of these fights, alleviate the pressure. But if you're losing the Terrorblade every single one of these engagements, it's not going to be worth it. Maybe if you're trading his farm out, it's okay, but so far that hasn't happened, and now they're going to go for the early Roshan. VGJ on the other side of the map. If they are going to commit to this, they've got to run now.
They need an immediate smoke and a brilliant song from Fade.
They're going to run in. This could be their turnaround moment.
It's going to be a little late. Misery's going to try and block them out of here. Look at him positioning himself aggressively, making sure that no one from VGJ can get there in time. The song goes out, but it's a bit too late. Aegis already picked up by the Lifestealer, and VGJ, they've got to get out of here.
Yeah, it's full retreat mode. That was a committed sleep, but
Radiant's middle tower
it was an attempt they had to make.
Yeah. It is kind of getting desperation time for VGJ.Thunder in this first game.
Your Terrorblade can't really fight right now in this position.
Look at Siler. He starts heading down to the bottom lane, but a smoke, that's going to be popped by DDC. Thankfully, it's just going to be the support picked up and not Siler himself. And that will be your final tier 2 of VGJ.Thunders. That's going to go down Evil Geniuses.
Dire's bottom tower.
Do they even try going high ground here with this first Aegis? Because usually you say, just control the map with the first Aegis.
You go for it. Because when you go high ground against a Terrorblade, it puts you in an awkward position. If you pop meta too early, the enemy team just disengages. And normally your catch follow-up is the sleep, but because you don't have that, there's no real way to set up. And Siler can't really take this fight anyways.
And they've got so much tower damage coming out from Samael. The tier 3 is already gone. Evil Geniuses. Are they going to push for more here? Yang going to be slowed down, forced to use a repel
Look at
on
Arteezy.
himself.
He's just running in, trying to create a barrier so that his team can just hit the racks.
And his Radiance is doing nice damage over time. Yule Scepter goes out. Omni Knight is going to be able to get away, but Samael just blew up the Brewmaster. Now the Naga Siren's going to be caught as well. Gets off the images, and they're already done. VGJ.Thunder at the 20-minute mark in this Grand Finals, Game 1, have called it.
This looks way too reminiscent of Game 1 they had against Infamous, where they picked a little bit too greedy. EG is an even faster team than Infamous. You cannot try to play that kind of style against them. They didn't even really lose to it. They're just like, all right, this game's over.
This was probably one of the most one-sided stomps of the whole entire tournament.